Toei Animation has released the first episode of Dragon Ball Daima, which introduced us to some brand new characters from the Demon Realm. And I thought the episode was okay, because while I did enjoy getting to see some new characters in the Dragon Ball universe, I was surprised by how much of this episode acted as a recap of the Buu saga. I mean, plenty of Dragon Ball projects also start out with a little recap, so I wasn't exactly surprised to see one here, but half of this episode was spent recapping the entirety of the Buu saga, so that recap took way longer than I was expecting. And that kind of ruined the flow of the story being told, because most of the time was spent informing me on things that I already know. But I guess the recap also had a narrative function, since it told the audience that the story was definitely set before the events of Dragon Ball Super. Unfortunately, the setting is another issue that I did have with this episode, because I absolutely loved the momentum that was being built with Dragon Ball Super Broly and Dragon Ball Super Superhero, so I have no idea why series creator Akira Toriyama would want to break that momentum in order to tell a story that takes us back a few years into the past, especially since I now have questions regarding the canonicity of this show. Kibito and Supreme Kai, for example, are shown to be unfused in this episode, which, again, takes place immediately after the events of the Buu saga, but the two characters were still fused at the beginning of the Battle of the Gods arc, which is also set right after the Buu saga. So I don't really know what's going on here. I don't think the characters would unfuse just to refuse again, so I don't know if this show is even canon to Super in the first place. But that's exactly how I know Akira Toriyama was involved with the creation of this series, because continuity was never his strongest suit to begin with. And I don't necessarily need this show to be canon. People enjoy Dragon Ball Heroes just fine after all. I just would like to know where this story exists for my own personal sanity. Regardless, despite the fact that I've been pretty negative on this show so far, there were still plenty of things that I did enjoy from the episode. I did like getting to see new characters like Goma, Degasu, and Dr. Erisu. Goma gave me strong Emperor Pilaf vibes, but it'll be interesting to see his character develop, since he is actually the ruler of something, taking the mantle of King of the Demon Realm from Dabura after he died during the Buu saga. I like how Degasu and Dr. Erisu were introduced as Supreme Kai's brother and sister. I like how the Demon Realm had its own set of Dragon Balls, which are guarded by robot-like creatures called Tamagami. I like how Namekians were revealed to be descendants of the Demon Realm. I definitely liked the animation, which is absolutely beautiful, and I liked the sprinkle of action that we got in this episode, which was already much better than most of the action that was featured in Dragon Ball Super. So even if this series didn't start off on the strongest note, I still think there's plenty to enjoy in Dragon Ball Daima. And since the episode ends with Goma wishing for the Z-Warrior gang to turn into children, we've already powered through what the initial premise of the show seems to be. Now we just have to see what kind of shenanigans Goku and the gang will get up to as children. I just hope that the story being told will be more engaging than the one from Dragon Ball GT. But I have faith in Akira Toriyama's creative sense of storytelling. So hopefully the remaining episodes of Dragon Ball Daima will end up being good, but I guess we'll see how episode 2 will actually turn out to be once it gets released on Friday.